Hey everyone, Stacks here. Welcome to the channel, guys. Today we're covering Guardians of the Galaxy number 8 by Donny Cates, art by Cory Smith, and just to give you the 20-second catch-up of what happened in issue 7 since it's starting a new storyline, let's do that. A giant ship called Cathedral shows up. It's from the Universal Church of Truth, and Nova Corps basically tries to court on it real quick and say, hey, what are you doing here? It then commences in wiping out a majority of the Nova Corps. In response, Jason, Peter Quill's father, has summoned the Spartak's fleet and is on his way to launch a strike against the Universal Church of Truth, only to meet the same demise. And with that, Peter Quill and the Guardians of the Galaxy charge in. However, not only are they quickly overwhelmed, it's revealed that Jason, Peter's dad, is actually behind this. The only Guardians to escape are Groot and Moondragon, and desperate for help, they seek out Rocket Raccoon. But when they find him, he's not the Rocket Raccoon they remember. He is in bad shape. And that's where we kick off this issue. And the book begins with Moondragon sitting across from Rocket saying, look, I need you to show me what happened to you. And Rocket's being Rocket. He's like, I don't owe you nothing. And he finally gets to the point where, like, you want inside my head? Come on inside my head. I will show you what hurt means. And we jump to this picture of Rocket before he was made into Rocket. He's just this regular raccoon looking up, scared. And what's explained is that Rocket was born on Half-World. He was basically born at a galactic insane asylum, and he was raised as a service animal. His job was basically to be something soft to help calm the patients down. Rocket's particular patient was an old war veteran named Kevex, and he talked about how they would sit around and they would watch all these old dumb war movies, and Rocket just laments that he was good to me, but he's the last one that ever was. From there, Half-World went kind of into an even crazier spiral. The doctors that established the place and the scientists, they left. And they left the robots in charge. And while the robots got tired of dealing with the crazy people, they genetically engineered a staff for themselves. And while Rocket's not really sure what happened to him or what they did to make him what he is, he said it really doesn't matter, because looking back, I don't miss being soft. But while he says that, it's obvious that this has had an effect on him. But he admits it wasn't all bad. He said, you know, he got to do a lot of stuff. He got to be a sheriff and a ranger. He found friends along the way. Ultimately, he found a family along the way. He fought in some cosmic wars, and then they came across the Infinity Wars. And after this last Infinity Wars, there just weren't so many Guardians of the Galaxy anymore. And of course, he's talking about the loss of Drax and Gamora having to be on the run. And one day, he just started having headaches. He started hurting, and he had to go. He laid down, and he felt like he was unraveling. That whatever these robots had done to him to make him, it was being undone. His body was shutting down. It was rejecting whatever modifications they did, and he wasn't going to be taken care of. He wasn't going to be soft again. He wasn't going to be put in some pitiful hospital and forgotten like Kevex was. And so he went, he found one of the escape pods in the old ship, and he left. And while Moondragon is touched by what's happened to Rocket and everything he's going through, and actually apologizes, says, Rocket, I'm sorry. Groot's not having it. He said, we aren't done. Rocket points back, says, don't start with me, tree. And Groot unleashes, kicks the table out from under Rocket where he's pouring drinks, screaming, how dare you? You call Groot family and then you just leave. You never answer calls. You know Gamora was guarding you, right? She knew you wanted to die. She didn't want any of your enemies killing you first. She was going to bury you. And Rocket looks down just in shame and holds up his hand and says, you think I want this? Groot looks down just in pain himself, saying, Groot doesn't know what you want. Groot doesn't know you anymore. The Rocket that Groot knew would fight this with everything he had. He would let his family help him. He wouldn't hide away like some dying cat. And Rocket just explodes. I was hiding because I didn't want you to see me like this. After all I've done for this galaxy, don't I get at least that? Don't I get to decide at least how I'm remembered? He looks down and says, don't I get to own this part? And Groot just looks at him and tells him, no. You don't just belong to you, Rocket. None of us do. We owe it to each other to keep going, because you won't be there when you die, but we will. That's what family means. And Rocket shuts him down. Yeah, I get it. I already told you I'd help you, you weeping willow. And Groot just kind of asks him, well, what are you doing? He says, yeah, I can't just go in this condition. I gotta get changed. And he steps into this room with this giant Gundam. Other than the head, this looks like a stouter version of the Gundam from Gundam Wing in my opinion. And man, I can't wait to see what Rocket does with this thing. From there, we jump back to Cathedral, where Jason, he's pretty insistent you call him Patriarch now, is showing around Peter Quill and the Guardians of the Galaxy, and basically giving him the rundown of his evil plan. And as they walk into this room, you notice a couple things. First of all, Cosmo's there, which, good news, Donny Cates didn't kill the dog this time. But you also notice that in these tubes are a bunch of the Marvel cosmic characters. And while you have a pretty funny moment between Lockjaw and Cosmos, you look in and you're seeing Quasar, and you're seeing Darkhawk, and all these guys that are, for whatever reason, they're not dead. It's just they're in some kind of stasis. And while they're in this stasis, their life essence is powering the drives of the ship. And according to the Patriarch, that's necessary if they're going to kill Death in our future's darkest hour. And Peter's just like, what are you talking about? What does this all mean? And as they get to the top of this altar, you look, and it's one of the Adam Warlock / Magus sarcophagus cocoon things. And the Patriarch says, don't you see, he will rise again. And once he's born, he will use the life force he's taken from here. It will take him to the future, and there he will kill Death once and for all. And Peter's just like, you are insane. What have they done? They brainwashed you. This is the same thing they always do. They always go for their cocoons. They always resurrect Adam Warlock for some mysterious reason, and then they get beat. It's the same thing that happens every time. And the Patriarch looks back over his shoulder and says, not this time. They have learned. You must have faith. Peter's like, in what? What's so different this time? And Patriarch puts his hand on the cocoon and says, this time it is an atom, and it's not just one. And he swings his arm out over dozens and dozens of these cocoons of what you're assuming is the Magus. And with that, we get our big to be continued. Now, while I'm interested in this storyline with the Universal Church of Truth, I am definitely more interested in what's going on with Rocket Raccoon right now. Rocket's being sick, and then his thought pattern of, look, I don't want you to see me like this. I don't want you to see me going through suffering and wasting away to nothing. Hit a very, very personal spot for me, because I had a family member that went through that, and actually remember them saying that when we came in to visit them, saying, don't let them in here. I don't want them to remember me like this. And I get that when you have somebody that you love and you don't want them, the good memories to be tainted by you being sick and wilting away. You want them to remember the good times and not the suffering in the end. But Groot coming in and saying, look, you don't get to choose. We're family, and we're going to be there for you. That was very touching to me. I think Donny Cates does a really good job with these emotional moments. The 5-issue Cosmic Ghost Rider series was the same way. Issue number 4 or 5, something about it just got me. The point where Frank Castle is standing up across from Thanos and telling, with the flaming skull and tears running down his cheeks, saying, look, my family is dead. And he just goes into his mistakes and him owning his mistakes. I love that part. And it doesn't feel like it's just being played for an emotional twist. It feels like it's written into a really well-written story. And while Donny Cates is one of my favorite writers right now, it's a shame that this book, Guardians of the Galaxy, is being overshadowed by his Venom work. I love his Venom work. Don't get me wrong. I'm really excited about Maximum Carnage and where that's going. But this is just flying under the radar, and it deserves a lot more credit and attention than it's getting right now. But anyways, guys, I don't even know if I need to say it at this point. I highly recommend picking up Guardians of the Galaxy number 8 and just continuing on this series. Right now, Absolute Carnage going on, Guardians of the Galaxy series, and Silver Surfer Black. All of them are fabulous right now. I recommend picking up all 3. But hey guys, if you haven't yet, make sure you jam that like button. It helps out the video get more views, helps the channel grow. And of course, if you haven't yet, I definitely want you to hit that subscribe button. It's like leaving a big tip for your waiter at the restaurant or something. Just helps let me know that you're enjoying what I'm doing here, and drives me to keep trying to grow the channel. Sincerely appreciate you taking the time to watch. That's all I got, guys. Real Comic Stacks, out.